A very warm welcome to you, and thank you so much for joining our Homeopathy 24/7 podcast. We are going to be speaking to an array of international guests who will share their knowledge and experiences of homeopathy with you. We will discuss all types of subjects such as remedies, symptoms, and stories of health. No matter where you are with your homeopathic journey, we aim to inspire you on your quest to natural health and living. The podcast is brought to you by Mary Greensmith, the founder of Homeopathy 24/7, which is a global platform connecting you with a homeopath wherever you are in the world, 24 hours a day. So let's get started with today's chat. Please welcome Mary Greensmith.
Hello, thank you very much everybody for joining us, and I'm really happy to welcome back Ekta Kaur Ross. Thank you for joining us, Ekta.
Hello, everyone. Really good to be here.
Yeah, it's just so brilliant, and we just had so much to talk about last time that we knew that we just had to get back on and start talking about other things. And of course, we're doing quite a lot helping dog owners at the moment, just coaching them with homeopathy, helping them make their dogs feel more comfortable. And this has led to so many discussions with us, hasn't it, about how we can actually help people.
Absolutely. I mean, there is no reason why homeopathy cannot help animals. It's all the same principles, it's all the same rules. There might be subtle differences because the animals can't talk to us, but they have their ways of showing responses. And I'm really excited about the results I see when I use homeopathy on dogs. Dogs is my thing, and I've been doing it for quite a few years. And the results are incredible. Truly
Yeah.
incredible.
And it's so, just as you say, it's just so lovely to see, isn't it? Because I often find when I talk to dog owners that they know their dogs so well. And we think it's going to be difficult because they can't talk to us, but we know so much about them just when we start to think, well, this is what they like, this is what they do, this is why they do this is how they react when this happens. And I always find that the owners have so much knowledge about the personalities of the dogs that actually it's not that difficult. So before we get into some remedies, let's just make sure that we're understanding that as homeopaths, we're lay homeopaths here in the UK, we're not veterinary surgeons, so we cannot prescribe remedies for other people's dogs in exchange for money. What we can do is help dog owners learn more about how homeopathy works and how they can use homeopathy for their own animals. And we are coming to this from the point of view that we both have dogs. We both have homeopathy, and we've used it with our dogs and helped lots of dogs over the years. So I know that you have got spaniels, is that right? You've got...
Yes, correct. I have working Cocker Spaniels.
Yeah.
There was a point last year when I was looking after 5 of them. And
That was a house.
They were rehomed successfully. Yes, it's all as just to remind what Mary says, it's about coaching you and guiding you, encouraging you. That's what you would really be doing as a homeopath. And it's a recommendation coaching session, explaining how you can look after your dogs using your homeopathic remedies and what to look for and how to help yourself in understanding how you would dose the dog, how you would choose your potencies. So it's all about self-empowerment and teaching you to have the confidence to use homeopathy.
Yes, absolutely. Because we know that you at the moment without homeopathy you only have the choice of going to a vet, and the vet has the choice of steroids or antibiotics or operations. And of course we know that homeopathy is not instead of surgery, but any of your animals going for surgery, homeopathy is such a godsend in helping them recover much faster. So let's talk about surgery first, because obviously we know that homeopathy is a complementary medicine. So can you explain a little bit about how homeopathy can be used if your dog has to undergo a surgical procedure?
Yeah, so I get many dog owners who come and ask me, and the first thing is it's about support. So you're supporting your dog, and you're supporting. Imagine yourself going through the surgery, the pains, the shock of having the surgery. So what I would recommend to you is, that remember the shock, you should treat for the shock. Quite often we forget that part. And if we look at that, it goes a long way in recovery. It will help shorten the recovery. And then you have your what I call your favorite homeopathic remedies that you would keep on hand when your dog comes out of surgery. And then you would have there are some protocols you can follow straight away as soon as your dog comes out of surgery to help the dog sort of recover from the anesthetic, recover from that shock, recover from that instant pain they may feel when the anesthetic wears off. And then, so let's say day 2, then you start looking at what is presenting specific to that surgery. And there is some favorite, I call them some favorite post-surgery remedies that you should keep on hand. And then I would guide you on, the level of discomfort and how you would prescribe for your dogs.
Yes. Okay. So let's have a look first of all at that. Let's start with the fear, the anxiety of going to a veterinary surgeon for start with, because I know a lot of dogs are very, very fit. They can smell a vet's surgery miles away, can't we? In actual fact, my dog loves going to the vet. She hardly ever goes, but she had a fantastic experience in Greece where the vet was a real dog lover and just kept giving her toys, so she thought it was brilliant. She just loves that interaction. But for most dogs, they're going to come out of the car in the car park of a veterinary and they're going to smell. So is there a remedy that could possibly help them get through the door in the first place?
Yeah, so I would recommend using Aconite.
Okay.
Aconite's brilliant, absolutely brilliant in that sudden fear, the sudden, oh, what's happened?
Yeah.
And absolutely wonderful to use.
Yeah, and of course, Aconite is a remedy that you'll all have in your kits because you can use it for you for this same shock and fear as well. So a brilliant remedy that everybody should have in their first aid kits.
A
Okay.
very, very useful remedy also for, the start of coughs and colds for, us lot. So
Yes.
if you're going to start your kit, start with the Aconite.
Right.
And a couple of others which we're about to mention.
Okay, that's a really good point. Now, this might be a good point to mention something that always makes me laugh because as homeopaths, we forget that that people might still be thinking in this way. Because I'd given my mum a dog kit, a kit of remedies that would be suitable, that she might need over the years for her dogs. And my mum, she also had a flu kit, so we'd explained about the remedies, and she's obviously watched me do homeopathy for quite a few years. And she was trying to persuade my brother. My brother came to stay and he cut his finger. And she said, oh no, I've got that one in the dog kit. And my brother wouldn't have the remedy because it was in the dog kit and not in the human kit. So it's a really good opportunity now for us to say that the remedies are the same. They're exactly the same. I had just put them in separate kits so that she knew that, she'd have some remedies that might really be useful for her dogs. But it's not like going to the vets, is it? It's not like having animal medicine and human medicine.
Absolutely. And that's the best bit about homeopathy because I take human patients, of course, and have been for over 20 years. And I guide for animal coaching and for dogs. And it's the same remedies. You have the same remedies, the same potencies, and the whole family, four-legged and two-legged, all ages and stages, I say. So from pregnant mums through to our lovely elderly and our four-legged.
Yeah.
So yes, it's versatile.
Brilliant, brilliant. Okay, I just thought we'd get over that little hurdle because the
Well worth mentioning.
All right, so let's imagine now then that our dog has gone for a procedure and we know that it's been traumatic, both internal and emotionally, and they're going to hand us our dog back. What's the first thing that we can do to help them get over that initial bruising and shock?
Yeah, so the first thing I would do is I'd give the Aconite and I would give Arnica. Arnica is, when I say to people, sometimes I do, small chats and I say, what's your favorite remedy? And 95% will come back with Arnica. Arnica is wonderful. It's
Yeah,
absolutely wonderful. And with Arnica, it's so useful in its different potencies as well.
yes.
So, coming to a dog coaching session, I can also help you understand the value of the different potencies. So, your dog coming straight out of surgery, I would suggest that we would go quite high in potencies, and it's magnificent. You go into 1M, or you may want to use the 200 C potency. It's amazing. You see your dog relax. You
Yeah.
actually see it with your own eyes. It's worth a go. It's really worth it go to just watch that.
Exactly, exactly. And this, of course, exact same rules apply for you if you're going in to have a hospital procedure as well. The first remedy that you want is Arnica in a higher potency. And because, of course, we don't know what's happening with what they're doing, operating inside, but things are going to be moved and they're going to come out feeling bruised and sore. And that is what Arnica has, isn't it? There's
Yes.
just that bruising and soreness. And I love the sentence, feels like I've been run over by a bus.
Yes.
Often that's how we feel after an operation. So we imagine that also the dog might feel that way too. But we know that there's bruising both internally and on the surface there that the Arnica is really going to help with.
Yeah, and also just quickly to add, when somebody comes to me about their dog and about the surgery that is planned, I always say to them that they take also a bit of homeopathy because it helps them also cope with the whole episode, the whole event. So when your dog comes out of surgery, I always say one for them and one for you,
Yes, you're right. So we are lucky that it can come out of the same bottle, aren't we? So you're absolutely right. This is a trauma, isn't it? And we're both feeling this trauma. Okay, so we've got the bruising and the soreness covered. Now, obviously, we have got an open wound that needs to heal.
Yeah. So we have a number of remedies, and there is something called Hypericum. We've got Magphos, which is more about the spasms from the surgery. We've got Colocynthis and Staphysagria. These are very, very good post-surgery. Probably I would suggest that maybe later on that day that you begin. And one of my favorites, Calendula. Calendula for healing.
Yes.
You've got that wound and it needs to be healed, and you accelerate the healing using these remedies.
Calendula. And of course, calendula is such a beautiful remedy. We don't need to go high potency with it. We can go in quite happily with a 30C perhaps. And we've got incisions internally and externally for those stitches. Calendula is always going to be useful.
And and the other one I've found in my experience is also sometimes phosphorus.
Okay,
Phosphorus
yeah.
does very well when the vet reports on bleeding and sort of a scenario around blood. I've found that literally one phosphorus
Yes, stop bleeding.
stops all of them.
Yeah. Let's go through those other remedies that you mentioned, and just so that we can understand the difference. So Magphos, obviously Magphos we know is a remedy that we use quite often with intense pain.
Intense pain. And what I would suggest is that if there is, I always struggle with this word, abdominal. So if there is abdominal surgery, something around that area, I always tend to recommend that do have Magphos on hand, because it almost closes the event by using it. And there is a bit of association with nerve pain as well with Magphos, the full name Magphosphoricum. And so its picture would be stomach, abdomen area, bit of pain like that, and possibly with a bit of thought about nerve pain in that area.
Okay. And of course you mentioned another nerve remedy, Hypericum.
So Hypericum is what you would suggest is our top nerve remedy. And it's the one that you get your finger, ouch, caught in the door. That's the go-to that you would use. You drop a chair on the end of your toe, you fall and you hurt, the bottom of your spine. Anyway, where it's rich with nerves, Hypericum is our go-to. There are lots of other remedies that will help us, but it's our go-to. That's where we rush to. We use Hypericum, and amazingly enough, it reduces the threshold of the pain.
Yes.
So again, with our lovely pooches, with our four-leggeds, we have a surgery event has happened. It's a lot to do with nerve injury. There is perhaps there is surgery near the spine. So we would go to Hypericum. We would use Hypericum.
Okay, yes. And of course, maybe removal of teeth as well.
Yes,
might
reminded.
And Hypericum might be useful, mightn't it?
Yeah, and sometimes if your dog has had like what we call an incisive wound, so it's like a wound where it's quite sort of small in diameter and gone quite deep. Again, that's a Hypericum scenario.
Okay, perfect. So it's just brilliant, isn't it? Just to talk through this, how we can use homeopathy alongside what the vet's doing, what's happening.
Yes.
We know that we can help our animals recover faster. So let's say we've had them home. We know that they've had an anesthetic. They've probably had antibiotics. They might have had other things. Are there other things that we could perhaps be doing to help them recover from those medications?
Yeah. So again, remember, there is this thought that inflammation is needed for healing.
Yes.
So when we suppress inflammation, we are not doing ourselves many favors. However, you obviously have to find that balance because the inflammation is causing you a lot of pain. So the idea then is, can we deal with that pain without using your sort of standard inflammation aids like the NSAIDs? So using that same theory and logic with your dogs, again, we know when the inflammation will actually do them good because it will provide the environment for healing.
Yeah.
But we don't want them in pain.
Yeah.
So can we tackle, the pain using something else? And then I say yes with the homeopathy. And I've forgotten your question.
So I was just saying about the fact that they might be having lots of medications and things like that as well. So is there anything to help them recover from that later stages?
Yeah, so you could use this approach of detoxing the medication. You could do that. And in homeopathy, there is a whole string of things post-medication that we could do. You could that's really what the word would be. You would choose to detoxify all the medication you've had, to help the liver, support the liver. So it's almost like a cleansing of everything that you've had to go through. And
we're so lucky to have liver support remedies, aren't we? And those organ supports, the Nux vomica and Thuya perhaps, that just help that recovery. And
yes, Thuya is brilliant. Thuya is brilliant for recovery for humans, for dogs, for all animals. You also have the chelidonium, but Thuya would be my go-to. Like the way I got excited about Hypericum, Thuya would be my first go-to for a cleansing. But this all can be really discussed in more detail.
Yes.
Because which way, also what I find is you need to work with the dog owner. How does the dog owner feel? How much pain has the dog owner gone through for their dog to have gone through the surgery? Because some dog owners feel fine and don't want to do anything further. And so that is something that, as somebody who's guiding you, I would, see how you are coping with the whole scenario. And then how is your dog coping 6-8 weeks later? And then we would go from there. We have, in our wonderful homeopathic world, we've got something called Narayani remedies, and they have a wonderful effect on the scenario, on recovery, on cleansing. We have in dogs, we love using tissue salts. They seem to work really well with dogs. So there is a few choices, and you work with the human. You work with the dog owner, and you understand where your dog is, and then you work out a plan. And what I love to do is give you options. I explain to you that this is how I would look at this, and these are, no more than 2 or 3 options, that this is what I would do next.
Yes, yeah. Because it's so interesting what you're saying, because the owner obviously picks up on the energy of the dog, and the dog picks up on the energy of the owner. So what you're saying is we can be prescribing on how the owner is presenting as well, as to what's happening in the whole communication between the family, if you like. And interesting that you said, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks later, because that's the one thing that quite often we forget. Homeopathy we can use much later. If somebody has, and in your dogs as well, has got something that we quite often say never been well since they had this done, there is always something that we can do with it. But because as a homeopath, we have lots of different prescribing methods, we just need to talk to you. We need to understand the situation. We need to understand the energy. And that way we can decide on which method would be most appropriate for what's presented.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I found ever since I started practicing, which is, like I say, over 20 years ago, that I'm always learning.
Yes.
Always learning. I have some fantastic homeopathic colleagues like yourself and Mary, and we share cases, we share our experiences, and it's a really good community, the homeopathic world. As professionals, we like to share, we like to learn. And recently, there are other methods I've been looking into. There's a sensation method. There are
as you mentioned, the Narayani method, and also the Ton Janssen detoxing method. So,
yes.
yeah, what I love about homeopathy as well is that the pharmaceuticals are always there, trying new remedies and getting the remedies of the medications as well, so that we've got that in our toolkit. Our toolkit just continues to get bigger and bigger and bigger, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And the real the sort of the confidence, the basis that we know, these remedies have been proven.
Yeah.
So we feel we're not experimenting. We feel we can prescribe with confidence. And when it comes to your dogs, we can advise you with confidence that we have the data, this is where we are with this information, and this is what I would suggest in your self-prescribing. These are your options.
It's a really, really good point to note that with homeopathy, we do our recording very differently than in mainstream medicine, don't we? Because what we write down, the results we get from our clients, goes into materia medicas and repertories, and books are produced so that we know that everything that is written in our homeopathic books has actually come from not only the provings in the first instance, but also from thousands and thousands of cases that the information has been collated and put together over 200 years. So,
Yeah.
that's why we're confident, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I have no doubt in my mind, because I come from, you could suggest, a scientific background. I was an aircraft engineer, but I loved physics.
Yeah.
And it's, for me, this is the realm of the nanoparticle level. And for me, I'm absolutely, absolutely confident, with not a shred of doubt in my head, how I don't know the mathematics on
Yeah.
how it works. The
Yeah.
mathematics is beyond me, but it makes complete sense. It works at a different energy level, which is why it's so wonderful as a complementary form of medicine. So homeopathy you can use as an alternative or also as complementary. So going back to our lovely dogs, they've gone to surgery, they've had mainstream treatment done, and
Yeah.
we can complement. We
Yeah.
can complement their recovery. And what we find is it accelerates their recovery.
Exactly. And that's what's so brilliant about it, isn't it? Because actually we need our vets, we need medical procedures, we need
Yes.
to be having this. We are in no doubt about that we're not questioning that in any way, shape, or form. But what we're saying is, let's give our dogs something to help them feel better and recover faster.
Absolutely, absolutely. And just to throw another personal experience in. So I have a few sport injury patients, human patients, and it's interesting again. They've said to me they've realized that they get bashed around. I mean, the sport is ice hockey, and when they take my homeopathy, they recover faster. And the ultimate goal is to get back on the ice.
Yeah.
And they find that if they do that, their recovery accelerates and they're back on the ice a lot quicker. I'm not sure if that's a good thing, but that's what they would like. That's what they would like. And then they've had injuries without my homeopathy, and they've worked it out themselves.
Yeah. Oh,
They've worked
that's
it out
amazing.
themselves.
Yes, yeah, I know that there are some good published papers about the sports injuries and using Arnica creams, as well as internal pilules. Brilliant, brilliant experience. And isn't it fantastic that we can share this.
Absolutely. And really, dog owners, make contact. Let us empower you, because it's all about self-prescribing. So it won't be me telling you this dose of this prescription at this time. We as a team, we are empowering you so that you have the confidence to look after your animals.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you so much, Ekta. It's just so lovely talking to you. And I know that we've only managed to cover surgery today, but there are lots of other instances and diagnoses that we could actually discuss and talk about how, because each way, you know, if we started talking about arthritis, for instance, in our dogs and elderly dogs, we can be coaching you, we can be helping you to have the right remedies in stock and know when to use them and how to use them. So let's leave that for another day. But I know that you've got information on your website and in our Facebook group as well. So we'll put some links to that so that people can contact you and find out more about how you can help them.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for this. It was lovely. I love talking about homeopathy. I love talking about dogs. So it's perfect.
Don't we have the most wonderful job?
Definitely.
Thank you so much, Ekta, for going through everything with me about helping people learn more about using homeopathy for their dogs. It's really enjoyable and so lovely to talk to you. Now, next week, I'll be talking to homeopath Shaz, who uses homeopathy for her garden. It's really inspiring, and I know that you're really going to enjoy it and find out so many things about homeopathy that you just never thought that we could use. I look forward to seeing you then. I do hope you've enjoyed these episodes, and I do hope you can subscribe to our channels. Now, there are various ways for you to listen to our podcast or watch it on video on YouTube. So whether it's iTunes, Spotify, or YouTube, please do subscribe and please do leave us a review. If you leave us a review on these platforms, then more people will see our podcast. We just want more people to share the joy of homeopathy. It's a choice that everybody should know about. Please do everything you can to help us help more people.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode and look forward to listening to our next one. Please don't forget to follow our podcast on your chosen channel, and please do leave us a review so we can continue to share homeopathy with as many people as possible. If you do have any questions, please do reach out to us on any of our social platforms mentioned in the show notes. We at Homeopathy 24/7 hope to empower you on your natural health journey.